Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 7 books that I read during April 2024. So the first book is called Just Another Person and it's written by an author called Gillian McAllister. So I really like this author and I'm always drawn to her books when I see them. Anyway, I saw this as an ebook on the library website. So it's all about a police detective called Julia and her daughter commits a crime. So Julia is she's kind of like trying not to let anyone know about this crime because she doesn't want her daughter to end up going to prison, but she's also trying to find another person. But there's like things that mean she has to act in I don't know what the word is, not in the way she's meant to be acting. She's not acting properly because she's trying to hide things and, blackmailed. She's being blackmailed, which means that she can't actually be a proper detective, even though she's completely committed to her job, and her husband isn't happy with this, and their sort of marriage is falling apart because he doesn't know about the crime the daughter committed. It's all like a big secret, but yeah, there's always a lot of twists and turns with this author, and I really liked the book. The second book is a book called Blue Tickets. I was initially drawn to the book by the blurb. I don't have the book with me anymore because it's from the library, but it's basically all about a weird, like, dystopian fiction world where women are either given a ticket, which means that they can have children, or they're given a ticket, which means that they cannot have children. And the main sort of character in the story is called Calla, and she was told she could never have children, but she actually wants a child, so she ends up on this like adventure running around hiding from authorities, and yeah, really weird, a bit unsettling. I don't know if I'd particularly recommend it. Just a strange book. Then I read a book published in 1988, and it's this Thelwell book. I got this for Christmas. Basically, maybe I was trying to read it to try and boost up the number of books read this month. But yeah, some parts are quite funny. Some of it's a bit old-fashioned because it is like quite an old book, but nice, easy read. Then I read another psychological thriller by Ellery Lloyd. It was published in 2021 and it's called People Like Her. I got the book for Christmas. I don't know where it is. I think the book is in a different house. But yeah, I really liked it because it kind of looks at like Instagram and parents that are sharing, like oversharing too much of their children's lives on Instagram and trying to portray like a perfect life, or like this person was trying to show like modern parenthood, so show the sort of failures and bad bits of parenthood, but she was like exaggerating them. So she had a child called Coco and a child called Bear, and she was getting on her husband's nerves because she was kind of exaggerating things and like talking about things that weren't really happening, like making the house look messier than it was. But he was like a failing author. So yeah, so because she's in the public eye, there is a bit of a risk. So there's things that happen, and it kind of keeps you guessing the whole way along because you don't know what's happening, and things happen with the children and they can't find them. So yeah, I would recommend. Oh, but I didn't like the ending at all. Ending didn't make sense. It wasn't very plausible, but I like the whole build up and sort of the thought process behind sharing your child on social media. I thought that was really interesting and very well written, but the actual ending seemed rushed and I did not enjoy it. Then I read Frankenstein, which is a science fiction novel that was published in 1818. I think the author was only 18 years old when they started, or maybe when they finished writing the book, but yeah, it was really interesting. I thought the language was easier than some classic books because it was written over 200 years ago. Still not 100% sure, but I did watch like a BBC A-level or like GCSE video to help me get up to speed with what was happening. But basically there's this scientist called Victor Frankenstein who spent 6 years at university, and he's trying to build this monster, but then the monster comes to life. No, he's trying to build a person by getting bits of human parts of bodies that he's found in a graveyard or somewhere. And then the person actually comes to life, and then Victor realises that he has created a monster. And he is in quite an emotional turmoil and really struggling with this. So he kind of goes on the run. It's quite a weird story, because I don't really read science fiction or horror stories. Then I read this book by Jackie Hill Perry, and it's called Gay Girl, Good God. So I thought it was easy pick-upable. It's like a memoir, but it's well written. There's some sort of flowery language, but generally it's quite like easy to follow and well structured. I really did not like the forward, like the bit at the start with someone else just highlighting how they are different to the author. I just thought that wasn't very nice. She was like, oh, I've had a better childhood than the author of this, but it's a good book to read. But I didn't really like that forward. I didn't like that part. It kind of emphasises that the fact of being a Christian isn't like a goal of being attracted to the opposite sex. The goal is actually to glorify God. So yeah, I did like that book. The last book that I consumed during the month of April was an audiobook called Scoff. It was written by a food historian, and I really liked it. It was 15 hours, but I listened to it a bit quicker, and I was able to still follow what was going on. But like, if you stopped it part the way through, even a chapter, you were able to follow on, because it wasn't actually a story. It was going through different parts of food and different parts of history, but it all flowed really nicely, considering that so many different topics were covered. Like tea, they used to not like giving to people of working class because they thought it was like more for academics and upper middle class people, and all these different things, like the way people call lunch supper or like dinner tea. So there's all these different issues of class throughout the history. It was mostly focusing on Britain, I think. It was quite a gossipy book, and there were quotes from different authors like Jane Austen, and like looking at the use of food in literature and just food throughout the history. So yeah, really like that. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and bye!